Good morning. Welcome to Forex in Four. Today is Monday, October 24th, 2011. Alrighty, once again, we start out with the euro here because we know what's going on. We've got the debt crisis summit, the one that took place over the weekend, and then we have the quote final day here. They're expected to come out with some sort of comprehensive plan on Wednesday, which is going to be the big news. So right now we're sort of in a little bit of a holding pattern. Although you can see that euro's sort of been pushing higher going into this. Now, basically over the weekend, there's really three things that this Euro Debt Commission has to do, and they've sort of been dropping the ball on all aspects. But you know, they haven't come any closer to a solution, or at least that we've heard so far. And we're waiting for Wednesday to see what the actual deal is. But here's the thing: is that we know about Greek debt. All right, that's a big problem, and that needs to be handled. So they need to do something about Greek debt. All right, they need to do something about their banking system. All right, because there's going to be potential losses from the Greek debt. So how do they recapitalize the bank? All right, banks, and then they need a plan going forward that is going to backstop all these other countries and all this other sovereign debt. And we don't really know exactly what that's going to be. So it's going to be interesting to see. Right now, they're talking about asking private bondholders to take a haircut on Greek debt. Some are saying up to 60% losses, which, you know, that's pretty big. And while it's not a technical restructuring, because they're trying to avoid default, essentially, you know, they may actually need to do some sort of restructuring. So it's difficult to say what the deal is there. All right, now they're talking about the banks and the levels that you know, cash they're going to need to backstop that. There hasn't been any talk of expanding EFSF, excuse me. All right, France was trying to get it a banking license so that they had unlimited borrowing power from the ECB, and Germany nixed that. They haven't really been talking about leveraging it up, all right, but we may need to see that happen. So right now we're sort of in this holding pattern, and we're going to be waiting till Wednesday to see what happens. But you can see here, euro pushed higher. All right, we got just ahead of the R1 resistance at about 139.60 earlier before we pulled back a little bit. And right now we have U.S. stocks about flat to open. Okay, not much going on with that, but we did have Asian markets higher overnight. I want to show you. Let's take a quick peek at dollar yen. You can see here there was a big move on Friday, and to be honest with you, it was one of these things where it just all of a sudden it was like a tsunami. I hate to use that in reference to Japan, but you know, we had some major yen buying there, and you can see right now that we're testing the 76 level, and a lot of people say that the 76 level is the line in the sand, and that perhaps, you know, we're going to see some sort of intervention out of Bank of Japan. But you know, here's the deal: is that, you know, everyone's waiting sort of for this Wednesday move to occur, and what's going to happen with the Euro Debt Summit. So it's going to be tough for Japan to get in and step in front of this thing right now and say, okay, we need to intervene here, right? They're going to have to wait and see what happens on Wednesday, and if they get any sort of favorable news, or if there's an outcome, then they may be able to step in at that point. But overnight, actually export figures came in much better for Japan, and their trade balance also came in a lot better than expected. So that's good news there. The other decent news overnight was twofold. We had Chinese PMI figures that came in much better than expected, showing the fastest growth in 4 months. And then we also had Australian PPI figures, which came in lower than expected. So that means that inflation is tame there. All right, and we've heard from the RBA that their next move is most likely going to be a rate reduction, not necessarily you know, a hike. That they're not concerned about inflation at this point. With lower PPI figures, that buys them a little bit of time. But you can see here, Aussie is moving higher on the overnight risk trade that was happening. Okay, based on China's you know, still growing manufacturing area. All right, then we move into the Euro session, and we had European PMI, or excuse me, PPI data that came out, that also came in lower than expected. So that's a decent sign there as well, that the inflation isn't, you know, picking up too much. But you know, PMI and PPI figures were a little bit lower. Actually, no, I'm sorry. These are PMI figures, not PPI. PMI figures, which came in a little bit lower. So that's not a great thing. But industrial orders were up a little bit better than expected. So what are we going to get for the rest of the week? Well, obviously, we're waiting for Wednesday on this big news coming out of Eurozone. Just want to show you the pound real quick. All right, pound got up, just tested 160. A little bit of a pullback here. We're sitting up above the daily pivot at 159. All right, we could see a bounce higher. We're getting there's going to be rate decisions this week going on, and I'll show you. We've got a rate decision in Canada on when is this, Tuesday? That's tomorrow. Let me show. Where's Canada dollar CAD? That's not it. Apologies. Dollar CAD. We're going to show you right here that we're coming into this parity level again, and we're sort of reaching almost a little bit of a double bottom here. You can see on the hourly chart from about a week ago. So probably going to sit up above parity for right now. We'll see what happens. It's Canadian rate decision. They're not expected to make a change. All right, and then we're going to get Australia CPI data, which is coming out on Wednesday, okay, and you can see here that we've sort of been pushing these tops areas. So if the CPI data, which is the better measure of inflation, all right, if that comes in a lot lower, then there could be a bigger expectation that they may actually cut rates, which would put a little bit of pressure on the Aussie, all right. And then we've got, that's on Wednesday, early morning, Wednesday, and then we're going to get the New Zealand. We're going to get their rate decision. People are saying that actually in New Zealand they may raise rates, depending, all right. You can see New Zealand's got the same sort of price action that we were seeing in the Aussie, but they've got they had these lower interest rates due to the earthquakes there, and perhaps they're starting to heat up a little bit. So they're not expected to change either, but they could be a little bit more hawkish perhaps in their statement. And then we're going to get the Bank of Japan rate decision, which is going to be out on Thursday night, and that could be, or excuse me, when is it? Thursday? When is Bank of Japan? Yeah, Thursday or late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. Okay, so that could be a catalyst right there for some sort of intervention. It basically is a day after what's happened with this Euro debt summit we're going to hear. And that could be something that takes place. So we could see some intervention maybe by the end of the week. Now, gold has been pushing higher. Okay, came back down. All right, but we're still here in this daily chart. We're still showing bearish patterns. So there's a lot going on here that it seems like it's setting up in the market to be a little bit of a bearish scenario. And I think maybe we're in a situation now where people are buying the rumor they're going to sell the news on this Euro debt deal. And the question is, what are they going to do? Well, whatever it is they're going to do, I'm guessing that the market's going to be disappointed by it as far as what the actual details of the plan are. But they will be, a little bit. I don't want to say satisfied, but the fact that, okay, there is a plan, that's going to be a good thing as well, provided that they can come up with the plan. All right, we know about all stalling and kicking the can and all these other things that have happened. But they really need to do something at this point. So maybe they come up with a plan that's, market doesn't love it. We get an immediate reaction, a sell-off, and then maybe we get a bounce from there. But you don't want to project these things too far in advance. It's just the way that these all these trades are looking is that it looks like when I come back and I look at some of these areas, it looks like we're looking at some shortage, some short trades here. So we've got this 140 level on euro that we're testing. We were at 160 at the pound. We're at 70. What was it? 76 here on dollar yen. So we're hitting all these levels, and it's going to be a question of whether or not the market likes what happened or what's going to happen on Wednesday in Europe as a result. So we're really just sort of waiting at this point. But I think we're getting a lot of buy the rumor. We may get some sell the news. I think the market wants to go higher at this point, and this Euro debt thing's really been the major impediment going forward. So once we hear Wednesday what's happening, you can reassess, reevaluate, and then market can make some decisions from there. So that's what I'm looking at for today. Looks like we're flat to start the day. Maybe we get some up and down trading volatility around those flat levels. So we'll have to see how it finishes up. But that's what I've got, folks. Good trading to you all.